Hey, love. I'm about to.
Why so late?
I was watching somebody finish. Hey, love. Guys, hello and welcome to Skycurser Daily number 39, where it's our goal to be a better indie dev today than we were yesterday. So we are picking up where we left off with Skycurser, and we are going to be specifically working on some of the screen shake element that we were working on. And as soon as we finish the screen shake, we're going to move right on to getting some scripting done for level 2. I'm going to have to do some reading on how Phil and Chris have kind of laid out the scripting for level 2. And then that means we're going to be also pulling in some of the new enemies, so I'm really excited about that. What we may do is work on each one of the enemies individually before we start scripting out how everything should work. In the process, we're going to definitely take the time that we need. Yeah, new enemies, sweet. We're definitely going to take the time that we need to do code cleanup along the way. I am going to try to keep pushing forward as much as possible so that we can get to these new enemies, but definitely got to make sure we're keeping the code maintainable. So we're going to focus on that as well. So I think the best plan of attack for us here is to kind of show you where we're at. I did get a little bit of a chance to do some code cleanup, or specifically some screen shake cleanup since the last stream. And so I think the best thing for us to do is just to hop in game and kind of show that to you. And then we've got a couple more things to add to screen shake. So let's go ahead and hit play so we get started. Additionally, basically what we modified on screen shake is to keep it from happening with every single unit. Instead, it only happens when we blow up metal. And I was doing it when we blew up just about everything, and we were going to do it when we were blowing up only medium and large enemies too, if they were meat enemies. But the thing is, it feels correct whenever you're doing it with metal. So I'm sure I'll have a conversation with Chris about it, see what he thinks. But let me also make sure you guys can see what I'm seeing with the game. Okay, trying to get our settings right here so you guys can see the game. Alright, here we go. Yeah, I'm just turning the volume down. We can just kind of play. So you'll notice when I'm shooting, everything seems fine. You know, there's no screen shake, and then when eventually we blow up anything that's metal and there's an explosion, we'll definitely see the screen shake. So we'll check that out here, right here with these guys. So that was a good screen shake. Here's a couple more. That was a good one. So the first thing we'll probably modify is how this guy right here works. This guy is not all the way correct. So notice he starts blowing up and then the screen starts shaking. So we're going to spend some time and get that right. So let's just... To Beastly though, thanks for saying what's up, man. I'm glad to see you here, bro. Good to see you. Alright, so I think there's a problem with the way that the enemy is currently working, specifically the tank. And I'll show you what I mean by that here if GameMaker starts working with me. It's almost like GameMaker's locked up on me. It's the compile screen is acting like it's standing in front. Okay. Alright, here we go. So I think the problem is, I'll show you basically. The tank has its step event and its actions that go along with the step event. And so basically here it is right here, and then it's got this script tank1 dive, which is always running, and that's fine for it to always run. So when it actually hits that script, it never actually runs until the tank has less than 0 hit points. So here's that script. So we check and see if we should destroy the tank or not, based on how many hit points the tank has. And then immediately following, we decide to run the explosions and then destroy the tank. And again, I say the tank, awesome, man. I love it. I'm glad you keep coming back, man. So basically, when I destroy the tank, that is when the screen shake occurs with this right here. So basically, let's minimize this. I didn't mean to minimize it in that way. Let me just make it smaller. When the tank is destroyed, so here's the destroy event and the destroy action. It inherits from the parent, and the parent is what does the screen shake. So the question is here, do we want to negate this right here for the tank? And so that would be calling the parent's destroy event, right? So let's go look at the parent's destroy event, because I think we should probably just call this a little bit out of context. And I think what we could do is basically, let's put this in a script. So let's call this out to a script, and then we'll have this guy call the script, but we'll also have the tank when it's actually destroyed, we will remove the event inherited call, and we will instead call the script from right here, basically. So the screen will shake right at the appropriate time. So I think we'll be good for that. And do one more thing here. Bye-bye. To my desktop real quick. Turn on some of my alerts for the stream. Thought I got that. I must have missed it. Try again. There we go. There we go. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and I want to remove this show debug message for the activated screen shake. That's kind of unnecessary compile information in the compile window. So let's look at that. I think it would probably be under, yep, here. Let me make sure the same song is not playing over and over again here. No, I think we're good. Okay. And so I did want to pull up the screen shake, and activated is not there. Could it be here? No, it's not. Let's check and see if it's here. Be under engines, probably in this guy. Nope, not in there. He's the one that calls object screen shake. And then where's the debug message? Not seeing it, so we're going to do a search real quick. Cancel whatever that was. I wasn't trying to save it. Scripts, search, show. I think I probably have a couple show debug messages that I use in various places, but the one I'm looking for has to do with screen shake. So apparently it's here in the screen shake step. I must have missed it. There it is. So remove that guy. Don't need him anymore. So I think we're good everywhere else where we have that right now. This compile window, I would like to see if I can keep it from sitting on top of everything, and I think that's this compile window is getting to me here, guys. What in the world? Come on, Game Maker. I know you got it. Where is it? There it is. That thing just keeps sitting on top of everything and blocking me, and then Game Maker doesn't show it. Let's see if I can fix this. Platform on startup. Close compile. I kind of like that. Open the compile window. The problem is it's just sitting on top, and that's the most annoying thing. I'm trying to see if I can fix that. I mean, I know I can drop it down to the bottom again, but then you can't see usually some critical information. So let me just see if I can see this guy again. Hit cancel. Pretty sure we'll see it in a moment. So let's in the meantime, that's fine, we will fix it in just a moment. So what I wanted to do was pull that information out to a different script. So this guy right here, I want to pull it out to a different script, and we will go ahead and drop this inside of the Shake engine, and we'll call this actually, let me think about this for 1 second. It probably was, love, because it's a Memorial Day, you know. So I've got two things here, okay? So I've got the score indicator, and I've got the screen shake that's happening here in the death instance. So I don't want to pull the score indicator out, right? But I do want to pull the depth, the screen shake out. So this is what we'll pull out. We'll focus on pulling out. It's got to be in the script right here. Cut, drop them over here. We'll probably have to call a couple of different things here. So I do see a couple things I'm gonna have to call from there. So we'll call this script screen shake activate. Drop it here. From here we'll drop in self, because we're going to drop in the base enemy object. Then we'll drop in the shake positive value, the shake negative value. I feel like the same song keeps playing. I thought it wasn't. How about we try playing all, guys? Start from there. Alright. Shake length. Alright, I think that should be good. So from here, I guess we're going to have to pass in an X value. Everything else should be good here. So we'll pass in X right here. No, I don't need to pass in X because I'll just use self.x. Okay, so we'll write out what we have here. Script screen. Screen shake activate. Argument 0 equals object base enemy, or object calling activate. What's this called? Script. Object calling script. Argument 1 equals shake positive value, argument 2 equals shake negative value, argument 3 equals shake length 0, 1, 2, 3. Yep, and that's only got 3, so that's right. And we're basically going to pass everything every time. So this is fine to, we're just going to change it to argument 0. Anywhere that says self, we change to argument 0 because that's how we pass it in. And then shake positive value is argument 1, shake negative value is argument 2, shake length is argument 3. So boom, we've got that down, and I think we're in good shape there. And you know what, as I'm thinking about this, I don't even really need to pass in any of these because they're all part of self. So I want to keep this simple as possible. So sorry about the extra code here. We'll get that out of here, and instead we'll just say, let me make sure I remember exactly what it is I'm dropping in here. Argument 0.shake positive value dot shake negative value and dot shake length. Let's verify that one more time. Yeah, we're good. We can remove these guys again. Only needed to pass the 1 in. It's as clean as possible. And now we can call this from a different object. And we'll do that straight from the tank. When the tank dies, we'll call it right here. Specifically, we'll only call it once. And so let's do this carefully. So here's our base enemy object. We don't need this guy open, we don't need that guy, but we need to open the tank again and look at the destroy event and minimize this a little bit. Guess he doesn't want to minimize. Alright, let's try this again. Just work with me, Game Maker. Alright, here we go. We got the destroy event here. So instead of doing this, we're going to remove this. We're not going to inherit from the parent anymore. And we don't want to call it in the destroy event. We do want to call it in the step event, which is right, well, our step event. That's kind of like a pseudo destroy event. From here, we'll create a value inside of the create event action. We'll create a variable, that is, and we'll just put it right here, and we'll say, let's see, shaken equals false. Just set shaken to true here, and we're inside of a script, so we got to check for and I guess I'm not exactly doing this right here. I need to call this properly. It looks like it's working, but I don't want it to. I need it to be referenced properly. Alright, from here we say if shaken is equal to false, then we go ahead and set it to true. But we also run our script, and we pass in argument 0, which is self, and we're actually going to pass in something slightly different, which is actually going to be the parent object. So let's do that. This is going to be well, that will probably actually have all the exact values that we need, since it is part of the parent object. It's still inheriting from the parent object, it's just not inheriting the destroy event from the parent object. So let's see if this does the screen shake at the appropriate time now. And this guy we're gonna shrink down as soon as I get control back from Game Maker. didn't want to minimize it. It just disappeared on me. Oh well, that's alright.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
One thing I need to add back in is the score indicator. So I will add a separate call to that though. Love the screen shake. Let's see if this works exactly the way we want it to. Boom! Looks flawless. Okay, let's do it one more time with these next two that come in. It shook exactly when it should have. It didn't start blowing up first and then start screen shaking later. That was because I died. That was because I died. And then that was because that one died. Perfect. Okay. Exactly the way it should be. It's awesome. Okay. Let's minimize this guy. We got this window doing this funny thing again. Alright, let's see if we can get it worked out. There we go. Okay. Alright. So, what does that leave us with? The few final things that we have to do. Let's not forget about adding the score indicator into the death of the tank. So somehow I've lost control again. Pretty sure the compile window is visible in front of me. I'm just not seeing it. Maker's not playing nice tonight. Hey Cadrius, looks good, man. Alright, let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and there it is. Good grief, Game Maker. Stop fighting me. Let's see if we can do this while we have the compile window here. Put it right back where it should be. Okay. I'm gonna say save the game because we're in a good spot. Music is stronger than mic volume. Let me see if I can turn down the music. Test, test. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Test, test. Test, test. Test, test, test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Alright. Should be a lot better, I think. Cool. Alright. Now, since the compile window's right here, I was going to restart because the compile window was acting weird, but I'm just going to keep the compile window down here for now. Let me look at this real quick. Okay, so I think what I need to do is pull the score indicator into its own script, and we will pass in probably we'll probably try to pass in, well, first of all, let's look at the object score indicator. I'm guessing that's going to be under like a helper controller. Huh. Nice. Nice, Cadrius. Okay, so helpers. Score indicator. Yep, here we go. And, so we're just setting some basic variables in the score indicator. I think what we'll do, I didn't really change anything there. I think we'll just have a script that calls score indicator, and it will run some defaults, but we'll also determine which score indicator we want to invoke. So I've got 2 score indicators, and this one is slightly different. It's +2 instead of +1. So let's do. We've got engines here. I think we'll just keep this under helpers for now, and create a script here. Script score indicator, and let's just stub out some things here. Score indicators here. Argument 0 equals object calling score indicator, mainly object base enemy, but then there will be one more argument, which is which score to pull in, which score to generate. So we'll just have the exact same information here that we had a second ago. And we'll do the same thing here. Script screen shake. Sorry, script what's our script name? Score indicator. Script score indicator. And we'll say self. Because we need it for this self.x. Sorry, in this case it's going to be argument 0.x, argument 0.y, and then this is fine to leave the way it is. But we'll do this. We'll do some overloading of variables. So we'll say var arg0 equals 0, var arg1 equals 0. If argument count is greater than 0, which it always should be actually, so arg0 equals argument 0. Do the same thing, but for argument 1, greater than 1, greater than 1, then it's all set to 1, and in this case this would be arg0, and arg0, and what we'll do, actually sorry, that's arg1, but what we'll do here is set this to object score indicator by default, so you don't have to pass it if you don't want to. So we won't pass it here, but we will pass it in some other instances. We still don't need to pass it in the instance of the tank, so we'll just call it the exact same way from the tank. So I think we're good there. Yep. Oh, here we go. We need arg0 here because it's going to be whichever object is calling this in. I will then say if arg0 does not equal 0. So it should actually be equal to some sort of object. In the case of passing it from base enemy, it's coming through a self, but it will evaluate to object base enemy. Alright, that should be fine. Let's try that. But let's also go ahead and add this right now, because I think we've got it in a good state to go ahead and add it to the same place for the death of the tank. And instead of this, it'll be argument 0, because argument 0 is basically self in this instance. Alright, so we're good there. Let's see what we got. And we're waiting for the compile to finish.
Mission 1. Death.
Just got a follow from the Platformer Labs. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Looks like we have a bug in our code. Copy this guy and take him straight to Notepad since I don't have eText editor installed yet. So we see we have a problem with .c and it's having a problem with getting the variable. Even though we declared it there, which is a little bit odd. So, oh, it looks like it was still left behind in the object base enemy. So the destroy event, which it is, there it is, that will fix that. We shouldn't have that bug anymore. I thought I took that out, but I missed it apparently. Okay, here we go.
Skycurser. Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go.
Okay, so the main thing we're checking for is the score indicator. The score indicator is working on everything so far. We want to make sure that it's working on tank, or in other words, the big carrier that comes across the screen. Screen shake still works perfectly. That's good, as it should. Alright, tank. Show me a score indicator. Yep, I think it was there. It's kind of hard to tell anyways with the explosions that are happening. I think it's there though. Should see two there. I can't really tell. I think one was behind the explosion, so I think we're in good shape there. So we got that working. All right. Probably one of the last things that we have to do. Oh man, was it white? Sorry about that. Let's get you back in there real quick so you can see it. Yeah, it should be working. I'm not sure why it doesn't always just switch correctly. So let's try this again and make sure it's not white. That was my fault. Here we go. That looks good.
Mission 1. Death at dusk.
So I'll just walk through that one more time. So score indicators are still working. We see the +1s coming up from everything so far. And see in a second that the screen shake is still working properly. Right there's the screen shake. And we just wanted to make sure that the score indicator works for this guy, which is kind of hard to tell, and I think I just saw it right there properly. One thing I'm noticing that looks a little bit off to me is the background, the sun reflection layer is quite a bit off. I'm not sure if that's a, I think that just must not be resting back in the correct position. But I'm not going to get hung up on that right now. That should be pretty simple to fix later. That still looks good. See how this looks. So no screen shake down here because we haven't enacted it yet. We are going to enact that. So let's go ahead and focus on the backgrounds. Let's focus on the backgrounds for the level 1, that's the cityscape. Yeah, Cadrius, right now everything gives 1 score. So there's nothing that gives you more than 1 extra point. It's kind of weird. I know there's thanks a lot, Platformer Labs. Yeah, man. Glad you like it. Yeah, it's a shmup, so we're creating it. Yeah, pixel art's awesome. There's 3 of us indie devs. So I do the dev work. Chris, who's on here sometimes as Skycurser, he does the artwork and the sound, and then Phil does like literally everything else, including he's really good with the hardware. So yeah. All right, so don't save to that error because we don't need it. And then what we're going to do is work on the screen shake and adding everything else to the screen shake. So let's go look at that object real quick. It should be in the controllers, which I believe it is. Object screen shake. And let's just kind of look at the flow of this guy. Everything's good there. I didn't mean to minimize that. I just wanted to close it. And step event is here. So just passing in self to this script, which is fine. Let's go look at the step event. And that is the step script in this case. Whoops, wrong one. Here it is. I'm missing the step. Where is the step? Do I have it in here in controllers? Here it is. I'm kind of feeling like this guy should be up here with the engines, but let's just take a look at this. I make games with GameMaker Studio 2, programming and pixel art, chiptune music with Famine Tracker. I do it all. Indie to the max, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Tight. Love it. Yeah, Cadrius does too. I think the Beastly Bro is working on some things, or has worked on some things with GameMaker. Yeah, tight. Have you made several games, Platformer Labs, or are you working on one game in particular? How's that going? So from here we're calling script shake engine. Let's look at this. Here we go. So here's where we have all of our enemies pulled in. I think I'm going to do something slightly different right here, guys. I think I'm going to take all of this right here and pull these out into a few separate items. So I've got like all my enemies here for level 1. I've got the Necro Star chunks, which are obstacles for level 1. And then I've got some backgrounds for level 1. So what I think I would like to do is be able to just pull different sets of these groups of objects whenever I want to, and add them to whatever list I'm working on, so that I can do things like loop through them down here. So I think I'm going to just take just a moment and pull these out into a separate script. And I think we'll put this in my mind, probably the best place to put it is under helpers as well. Yeah, no good at the music either, but it's fun. Yeah, I couldn't do the music, man. Chris is really good at it. He loves it. Yep, most of the people watching game dev is indie dev, or people who know things on code or pixel art, etc. Not working on one right now, but have several prototypes on the back burner. Sweet, man. Love it. Love it, love it. Alright, so we're going to create a helper, which will be, I think we might just do all this in one script. Script get object group. I think I'll just do it like that, right? And script get object group. Yeah, I know. I like to watch devs who are working with GameMaker as well. So we're going to have argument 0 for sure will be group to get. And then argument 1 will be, let's change this slightly, okay? So because we're going to return the main object, or the main list, and that will be debating. Let's just call this the DS list to return. Build and return. Okay. And so we will return argument 0, which should be a list. Let's keep it simple for now, but I may have to change it later if I decide to return a different type. Like if I decide to return a different type of data structure, so data structure map or something like that. Cool, sounds good, platformer. Alright, so let's then say I'm debating here. Maybe I should do it the other way around, because if I do it the other way around, I can create it if it's not passed in already. Like if I don't, if I'm not passing in the list. Let me think. arg0 equals 0, var arg1 equals 0. Let's just declare them and then say if argument count greater than 0, arg0 equals argument 0. If argument count greater than 1, arg1 equals argument 1. Okay. And so at this point, I mean, this could be helpful if I switch these. So I think I might just do that, guys. I'm just trying to figure this out as I go here, and I think this would probably be the right way to do it. So if the argument doesn't exist, we can create the list right here. So we'll just call this OL instead of EL like I have it over here for enemy list. Instead, this needs to mainly be object list, right? But OL, and let's just call this object list. Okay, equals ds list create. So if the list isn't passed in, we can create it on the fly. And from there we can say which group of enemies do we want here. I think it should be pretty simple. So we'll switch argument 0, right? And we'll first of all say if argument 0 is not equals 0, because it shouldn't equal 0. It shouldn't be what I had it set to by default. Case, let's say, thinking here. Do we just want to do, what if we passed in one more argument, which would be, we might do a switch case inside of a switch case. Ooh, probably not a good thing to do, but we might end up doing it. So I think what we should do is maybe determine what level we want to pull in here. And so we would say level to pull in from, and now we can say R2 and change this to R2. Sweet, welcome back. Cool, man. Cadrius, tanks, awesome. Okay. Blurry graphic bug. I think you might be able to still use Studio, because I heard that There's a setting you can turn off called interpolation, which I think I need to turn off anyways. Let me see if I can find it. That will keep graphics from getting blurry. So I'm gonna look this up real quick. Interpolation. I don't see it there. Just search for it. Nope. I might do a search for it online. Let's see, the function can be used to set the linear interpolation of all images drawn on the game screen. When this is set to true, textures will be smooth when drawn. This includes sprite, as they too are considered textures, meaning that when scaled or moved, if there is not a 1-to-1 pixel ratio, then there will be a smudging across various pixels, which may make images appear blurry on the art style used. If this is switched off, then the images will be drawn based on the nearest pixel when scaled or moving, which may lead to blocking images. The default value is false, and this can be changed. So maybe you turn it on or off, I'm not sure, but I know there's some weird things that are happening with our game where the sprites are getting caught in between pixels and it's making it look weird. So if the default is turned off or false, then I might just turn this on. So this is a cool little if statement here. There it is. Yeah, texture set interpolation false. Change in Windows graphics tab. Let's go look at that real quick. Come on. Windows, global game settings. Graphics, interpolate colors between pixels. See, mine is set to off by default, but allow the player to resize the game window. I don't think so. But interpolate colors between pixels, I feel like, I thought mine was turned on and I had to turn it off, but I guess it's off by default, so I'm not sure. Anyway, alright. Let's keep moving forward on this for now. Alright, so case, let's put in here so we'll put this off of argument 2, which is DS list to build and return, and this is level to pull in from. So we will definitely make that required, but then we say here, we'll say case on this is what level, so we'll say arg1 break, and we'll just say switch at this point, right? Because from here, I actually had that wrong, right? So this should be level 1. And at this point, we say arg0 and pull in what enemy it wants to pull in. Case. And we will definitely name them here. So the groups I am envisioning are enemies. I'm going to use a plural version of these. Game start controller that checks if Windows OS is the OS type, and if it is, then it sets the interpolation to true. If OS type is Android, it sets it to false. So it looks like to me interpolation is the thing that smooths it over, right? Otherwise, interpolation is like your images could. What's going to make it blurry? Platformer Labs. Between the different settings, which one of those is going to make like a pixel art, your pixel art, blurry if it's caught between pixels? Is it going to be interpolation set to? I would think the thing that would make it blurry. Okay. Enemies, obstacles, and backgrounds. So, got that guy. That guy's there. That guy's there. If Windows, you want it to be true. Interesting. Okay. Case level 2. I'm just gonna step level 2 out for a second because there's basically should be nothing here. Okay, I've got semicolons instead of colons. Let's fix that. Okay, should be good there. Cool. Alright, so for here we say object enemy 1. Sorry, that's not correct. Let me think for a second. Yeah. DS list add OL object enemy 1. So we're basically just transporting what we have over here over to here. And we've got our list in place. I guess I should, instead of say argument 2, I should call this, instead of OL, I should call this argument 2. Yeah, I think that'd be the better way to do it. And like I said, I'm just transferring these over. So we're going to have object enemy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, tank. Probably a boss in there. Let's just keep those separate for the hell of it. Change this to 2, 3, 4, 5. Object tank 1. Object boss 1. Necrostar 1 and 2. And then all these background layers. Set it to false for both Windows and Android, and mine is false right now, so not exactly sure what's going on with my buddy's monitor whenever we played on there. We played on a CRT and we thought that interpolation might fix it, but or changing the interpolation setting might fix it and keep it from doing that weird thing where it's trying to blend when it shouldn't. But if it should be set to false, mine is set to false, and that's how I export it, so it should be also exporting in that manner too. So I think, you know what, we can just take all these right here, just pull them over, since they're all backgrounds that we've already set up. And let's just get this all set up right. Okay. Okay, so got the backgrounds there. I think that means we can eliminate all this stuff right here, guys. So here's what we do. We will say, instead of EL, I think I want to change all these to OL, because again, they're an object list instead of just an enemy list. So we'll just say object list here, call this OL equals, we'll just say var OL equals script get object group, pass in our various arguments that we need to pass in. We want to get the enemies, I'm gonna modify one more thing, which I'm going to change. I'm gonna since I've got this set up on the switch statement to kind of pull by the level first, I will switch the order of these, so it'll be level then group, and so I need to make sure this is correct as well. So this will be level, and then did not mean to do that. Level and group. I think we're good there, and this should be group. Cool. Those are all still the same. Still got the DS list in there. So change this to level 1. Enemies, and no need to pass a list in. But the next time around, we will pass the list in, right? Because we want it to work off of the same list. Enemies. I don't necessarily want to pull in bosses just yet. I probably will in a minute, but let's pull in everything else first. So we're talking about obstacles, and I did need to pass that list in, so go ahead and pass it in. Yep, we'll just pass it in exactly like that in list format. And then let's make sure these references say OL, OL, OL. I think that would do it there. Yep. And we basically just copy this one more time, and all this does is change this to backgrounds, and we've got our entire list built out right after that. Boom. So now we have this available to grab for any other like list of things that we need to get, right? I'm going to make a couple of comments. This is part 1 for level 1 background. I'm not going to do a switch case here. I don't think there's a need to do a switch case, but I'm just making some notes here for myself. So, nope, wrong place. Oh, Game Maker, killing me here. Where did that go? All right. Game Maker is killing me. What are you doing, Game Maker? Alright. Can't drop yourself in yourself. Just... Are you kidding me? Right now? Oh. Drop it where it can't go. Like... This is ridiculous. Just want to drop that folder back where it should be. Alright. Is this really happening right now? Alright. Drop it right in there, man. Go. Jeez. Okay. Close all these other ones. Crazy. Okay. So I still need to look at level 1. I need to look at, you know, set 2 of level 1. And I'm going to add those to this list here. Looks like I have 6. Another platformer project on Studio which needs to interpolate. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. 0, 1, 2, 3, 3A loop. So the only difference here is we're changing this from stage 1 to part 2. And it looks like there's an underscore there. Part 2, layer 0. Okay, perfect. Let's take this, duplicate real quick. Instead of having to retype this out for every single one of them. So then change this to 1, 2, 3, 3A, and layer 1 underscore loop, and move this guy up with 1. Cool. I'm going to look at this interpolation. That is the one with, and this is the one without. Nice, more blocky. Yeah, I like it. I mean, that's what we're trying to do on some of ours, so it's interesting. Maybe turning it on would fix the weird bug. I don't know. I think we're gonna have to experiment. And then these backgrounds. So let's do some organization real quick. I don't know if these are organized. Let's organize these a little bit since we're gonna need them in the future. 2, 3, 3A. This is one loop, and this is 0. All right. Cool. I think we're in good shape there. I'm not going to try to move anything right now. It'll only lead to more frustration. 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9. Cool. Like it, like it, like it. Alright, last piece here, guys, and I think we'll have all the backgrounds in here properly, so then that means all the backgrounds will shake properly. So this will be stage 1, layer 0B. 1B, 2B, 3B, 7B, 8B, 9B. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. So when we say get the backgrounds, we're getting all the backgrounds for level 1. We may do a switch case later, but I mean, I don't want to get too crazy with what's passed in up here and what I'm checking for. It could get out of control, so let's try to keep it as simple as possible for now and just assume that we're going to grab all the backgrounds. So I think we got that. And actually, I will modify one more piece here, and instead of level 1, I'll actually look for the room name so that it's more dynamic. So let's look at that. It should be room level 1, so we'll just say this is good, this is good. Room get name room, pass in the GameMaker variable, and use the GameMaker method to call that variable to get the actual string. I think that's a string. Let's make sure that it returns a string. Room get name. Wrong place. Try it again. Room get name. What if I want to be a worse indie dev? You could do that too if you want to, man. It's no problem. Hopefully you get better though, man. That's the goal, right? Specified room as a string. Returns the name as a string. So we're good, and then we just got to make sure we match up the room levels with the script name. So the script is right here, and we just say room level 1 and room level 2. Yep, room level 1, room level 2. Boom, got it. I think we're good, guys. I think now, like when we have the screen shake object in play, it's going to properly look up the correct room and then going to pull everything in as it should when something blows up correctly. So we've written a lot. Let's go see if everything works. If everything works here, which I wouldn't be surprised if I got a bug in here somewhere. If everything works, we'll move on to scripting for level 2. Alright, let me make sure the game switches as well. Looks like we have a compile error. Let's fix that first. So there's a problem with the way I'm calling something here. It's saying that it's looking for one argument, and I've passed in 2. And I think that just means I've got something wrong in my script rather than the way I'm passing it in. So let's look at it real quick. So argument 0, 1, 2. Ah, here it is, right here. So the way that we're returning this, and actually instead of argument 0 like that, let's return, don't forget we gotta make this the list. So we'll say return arg2. So it was arg0 initially. Let's return arg2. Ah, good to see you back, the Beastly. Alright. arg2 is there. I think we're good. Let's try this again. First chunk of code for my point and click adventure game. Sweet. All the submenu options for the menu bar. Want to see? Yeah. Shoot a link in chat here. Let's check it out.
Mission 1. Death at dusk.
Yes, look at this, guys. Everything seems to be working all right so far. Let's see what happens when we blow something up. See if we have any bugs or not. Blow up the eyeball planes here in a second. Oh, bug. Alright. So it doesn't like me checking for arg0. It thinks that, so once it's set, copy, abort. Let's take this to Notepad real quick and drop it in. So it's basically having a problem with this right here, and I think the problem is that once arg0 is not 0 anymore, and it's actually set to the room to a string, we're basically checking an integer versus a string, which is what returns right here, and it doesn't like that. So I think what we can do, man, I hate to do it like this, but this is just kind of what we have to, the constructs that we have to work inside of for Game Maker. We can't just do different typesetting, you know. So I think what we should do here is, and I think this should actually change to, let's see, arg0. I think I'm just gonna let this go, guys, because I think we're good. And I've done this before on other scripts where I don't do that check anymore. I think if I'm going to keep the check, I modify something very slightly to look for, instead of you know, setting it to 0 here, I would set it to a string, maybe something like that I'm certain would never be used anywhere else, and I would use that throughout the entire application. Yeah, don't save this, so that you know, when I need to check for a string, this is what I check for, you know, this is what I put in, and then I just check to make sure it doesn't equal whatever that value is. Let's also make sure this switches. Oh, when I play I get white screen. Sorry, let me fix that again. I had that fixed a minute ago. This should fix it. There it is.
Skycurser.
And also looking at oh cool, I'll check out the code here in a minute.
Mission
Okay, here we go.
1. Death at dusk. Go.
Alright. So again, everything is fine right now. Let's see if everything's fine when we actually destroy something that should be destroyed and make the screen shake. Okay, it's got another bug, but we're dealing with something else here. This is real simple. Copy, abort. I know what the error is, so I'm going to go straight and fix it. Instead of L here, we had L previously. I think that's the problem. We need to make sure everything's updated to arg2. Didn't have everything updated. arg2 is our, you know, object or enemy list. Let's get this working, and I haven't forgotten about your code yet, so let's check that out in a minute. Save, play again, let's try this again.
Mission
All right, here we go.
Death at
Make sure you guys can see what I see.
Go.
Yep, cool. So still good, still behaving appropriately. Let's get to our eyeball planes here in a minute. There we go. Boom! Perfect. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward now. I think I like the way everything's working right here. I'm going to fast forward to level 2. I mean to the second part of this level. Yeah, okay. And verify that everything is basically working the same down here. Although I think I messed up everything, so let's restart here. And just fast forward just a minute and a little bit less than the amount of time that I had fast forwarded a second ago. Alright, here we go. Let's pick up from here. This should help. Alright, so we should have... Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yeah. Everything... Oh, looks like we got some things that are not correct. So we need to fix those still. Okay, so everything's not getting correctly down here at the bottom. Everything's not getting correctly reset. And we'll just make sure that happens here in just a minute. Oh, looks like we had a bug too. Copy this guy. I'm not sure what this bug is. Kind of surprised. Oh, I think there's a different kind of enemy that I have to take into consideration. It's looking for this and can't find it. Alright, let's look at your code for a sec. Add item. Let me look at that real quick. Looks like that's your custom code. Small list box or SM list box dot add item, and you're adding some menu items here. Yep. And got a divider, got another divider. Speed up, slow down, control the sound. Cool, man. Like it. Sweet, dude. This is Game Maker Studio. Hey, Mr. Cryptic, how's it going, man?
It was weird the way you said that. It sounded like you were be like, "Hello, Mr. Parks, how are you?"
Yeah. Alright. So we've got to address the background. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. The background was kind of offset where it shouldn't be. So let's fix that real quick. Adventure Game Studio. Got it. Okay. I was wondering, I thought it looked a little bit unique to what I'm familiar with. Yeah, and that's what you were talking about using the other day, isn't it? Nice. Okay, cool. Alright. Let's keep going here. Alright. So we are picking up where we're going to look at the background objects. So we're here, level 1. Can I pull this guy up 1, just right inside of backgrounds? Nope. Here we go again with the crazy movement on the backgrounds. Alright, just drop it out there. But okay, let's go look at this. So we've already addressed background 1, or the items in background 1, the objects. And we're inheriting from the parent here, and we are, the parent is an object-based background game. So we need to do the same thing with all these other backgrounds real quick. I don't think they're set up like that at the moment. Let's make sure. Yep, no parent right now. So we'll go ahead and update the parent. Set it to base background game. Do the same here. Background, base background game. Set the parent. I've already done the work here, so there's not much more to do here, and we'll have this correct. Background game. Boom. Base background game. Boom. Alright, let's do the same thing with backgrounds 3. Base background game. Parent. Background. Base background game. Almost done. Backgrounds. There. There. Alright, last thing that we have to do with all these is drop the same event inherited call inside of each one of the create actions for these backgrounds. Let's start here. Open. Event inherited. Good. Done. 1. Open. Done. Loop. Why does that keep opening every single time I open one of these? Alright. Done. Puzzle quiz game you want to make. So I'm guessing Adventure Game Studio is not quite set up to do that as easily as Game Maker. Or you just want to try a new engine. Make sure I got this one. I think I did. Last one, and I think we should be all set once I get this. And let's look at the EBP enemy real quick, because I think I was having a bug show up there. Should be good. Let's try this again. Easy networking, got it. Yeah, I actually haven't gotten a chance to use the networking stuff yet. How would somebody string audio together? What do you mean exactly? I mean, not entirely sure what you mean by that, because with Game Maker Audio you can do loops and stuff like that on your audio. You can check and see if another sound is playing before you play a certain sound. So I'm not exactly sure. It looks like you've got two things that you're saying there. So you're talking about networking, and you're talking about networking, and you're talking about audio. So I'm not following you exactly. Okay, fast forwarding again to the second part of this level. Stop right here so we can make sure the game queues up enough correctly. And of course there's a little bit of funny glitch there, but I'm not so worried about that at the moment. Okay, so everything's off still. Looks like there are some issues with I know what the problem is. The initial Y and X are different for the for everything down in the city, because they're a little bit longer. They're not the 320 by 240. Instead, they're like 260 or something like that. So let's go look at that. Alright, so level 1, we know these are correct. We also know everything's inheriting from object-based background game, specifically all these objects right here. So X and Y are here. And by default, the X and Y positions are set to 0, which would be correct. Let's go look at our step event or our shake engine. I'm thinking it will be in, pull this guy up here, that makes more sense to me. Okay, let's see what we got going here. So argument 4 would be the background, and we're looking at some backgrounds here. If the object type is object-based background, or is not, okay, so here's where we have to make a small adjustment. So I think we're probably going to do a script call here and just return true or false on the script call so that we can determine whether we want to use INI, Y, or 0, because this is good for level 1, part 1, and part 3. Not good for level 1, part 2. So if script background is simple, let's just say background is simple, separate audio files, and I want to play them back to back like a quiz host, for example. Wouldn't be hard at all to do. Lots you can do with audio and Game Maker. Yeah, platformer is right. Mr. Cryptic, a minute ago I missed what you said. Just picked up a new piece of software that makes my 3D texturing skills 10 times better. Nice, man. What's the software? So we got to make sure this this script is called, and we'll make sure to return a Boolean here. And if it's simple, else object shaken I at the INI Y. Oh, let's say Y equals object. Okay, I take this back. Let's not do this check here, because we can do the same check. We can do this check here and just have it so we're not writing tons of duplicate code here. So script object script background is simple. So we just got to return true properly. I'm going to drop it in the shake engine. Script background is simple, and var simple equals true, return simple, and we'll set it to false here if if the object that's being passed through is one of these particular items. And we'll pass in the object shaken. So let's go script background is simple, and this will be good even for all the other backgrounds, but it's quite a unique set of backgrounds for part 2. So argument 0 equals background to check. So if I think we just do a switch case here, probably be the most simple way to do it. And then we just go and we just have all the cases here. So the in this particular case, we look for these backgrounds. And I think we can go like this right here. Object, get name. I'd rather not have to get name if I don't have to, but I think I'm just going to have to in this case. And we'll just do this for all 6 of these. One loop, 2, 3, 3A. One loop, 2, 3, 3A. And so basically we're saying if the object's name is any one of these, set the simple to false, and then in that case we want to use INIY on the shake object. Let's move this guy up here. So in that case we want to do this. And this should evaluate to true, which should allow it to come into here. Otherwise, if it's any other background, it should be fine. And actually I think I have that returning opposite of what I want it to. So I want this to return, I definitely want it to be a positive. Background is simple. What if I go, would love it if I could go like this. Background is not simple. So this would not be true because everything else would be true. And if I can just say not, that would be awesome. Still streaming, noise. Yeah, I started streaming late, Chris. Later than normal, so. Alright, so we're going to fast forward straight to the cityscape. And, of course, let's see what our problem is here. It's expecting a value here, and so we've got to go object shaken at the eye. There we go. Pass in the argument that it's looking for, and that is what I meant to pass in. Light night strum. Okay, like I said, straight to level 2, straight to part 2.
Mission 1. Death at dawn.
Just speed up so we can get pretty close. Ha! That's the first time I've thrown the background off like that. That's funny. still messed up. Alright, I'm gonna have to see. I think some of them are correct and some of them are not. So let's go look at that real quick. Okay, so something is off, and I know which one it is. Let's look at these sprites real quick. Backgrounds, level 1, part 2. This is 270 high. 270. That's not what I'm looking for. 270. 270. 270. So I'm wondering if my test evaluated properly like it should have, like I hoped it would. Not sure that it did based on what I saw. Everything else seemed to be operating differently. Let me just look at this one more time. Or maybe the reason why the screen went really off in the first section was because this was opposite of what I hoped it would be. Let me just think for a second. Okay. There might need to be a check I do right here to make sure that we don't proceed if object shaken is not found. Object shaken at the eye is not found. But we'll look at that in a second. Script background is simple. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Chris. I'll make sure you see gameplay in a minute. This OBS doesn't switch when it should and when I hope it would, so I have to keep doing it manually. So sorry about that. Every background is simple, except for those few. Script background is simple. Just trying to think through this. True by default. No, if it's those ones that I want it to be INIY. Maybe I want to set it to false by default, because anything that comes through, like especially if it's background, I don't want this to evaluate to true when this should have stopped it. Here we go. I think we say object type is equal to object base background game, and so if the object type is background game and it's a simple background, let's say, and it's not simple, then use INIY. I think that would be more accurate. Let's try that. And let's make sure you can see the game.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
No. Not correct. Everything keeps moving incorrectly. Alright. Obviously that's wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just make it explicit. So background is not simple. Use the INIY. And I think here's part of the other problem is we're resetting the INIY. And I need to make sure that doesn't happen. If the object type does not equal object-based background game. Okay, that's fine. Let's try this one, and let's look at our script background as simple really quick. So by default, simple is true. Passing an argument in, it's the object to check. We have a switch case and a break if it's none of these. It should return simple every time. Should return simple true. On any one of these scenarios, false. It will return false, which should be correct. And we'll just skip over the whole thing if object get parent of the argument 0. Let me make sure object get parent returns a string. I think it does. I think it does. Parent of the object index. It doesn't say. I don't see anything about. I think I got to do a couple things. Object get name. So we got 3 parentheses. So only if the name of the parent is equal to object base background game do we even evaluate this. Otherwise everything else is automatically true. Part 103. Stars TV, thank you for the follow. Nice. Part 1 and 3 of level 1, and any other level. Level 2 should be false. I mean, part 2, level 1 should be false. That's what all this is. Try it again. Got your game on green light.
Mission 1, death at dusk. Go!
Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so the Y position is incorrect. Didn't mean to come here. The Y position is what's incorrect. It should be object type. Yep. Looks like I got a bad set of parentheses here. Let's see. Oh, no, I'm good. But this is not doing what I'm hoping it would do. I think what we do then in that case is let's force it down here. If okay, so if let's try this same check right here. Script background is simple. Drop in object that we're checking against. Oh, got another follow. Garrett Red 3. Thank you for the follow. Very much appreciate the support. I hate to do this, but you know, if I have to, I'll still figure out how to make this so I'm not duplicating my code here. Script background is simple. Yeah, if it's simple, go there. If it's not simple, go here, which is what we want. Let's try this. Okay, so we're going to fast forward again, go straight to part 2, since that's what we're troubleshooting. No. Still having a problem here. Give me a sec, Bob. Yeah.
This girl just spent.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, what we're working on, pardon me, is making the screen shake proper in part 2 of level 1, where he drops down below the clouds. Right now the background is not sitting exactly where it should be whenever there's an explosion on screen. We're working through some screen shake, and the background is not snapping back to exactly where it should be. And if you're seeing Skycurser in chat, that's not me, that's Chris. Chris is one of the other indie devs on the team here. There's 3 of us total, and he's the one that does all the artwork, all the sound in game. So ask him any question. If I'm chatting in chat, I'm listed as Skycurser dev. So this right here, I'm wondering. Feels like my it just feels like this is not evaluating the way I need it to be. It seems like it's doing okay in part 1, but in part 2 it doesn't seem to be doing what we hope it's doing. Justin's Johnson, fighting games. What type of fighting games are we talking about? Also, I would say 60 is going to make it look way smoother than 30. Yeah, and Chris is telling you the same thing, I think. Okay, so our script here, switch case. I wonder if this is even evaluating to anything here. I wonder if this is ever getting hit. Show debug message setting simple to false. Okay, so we should see that output in the compile window here, so I'm going to pull this compile window up. Whenever we're in game, we should see the output. Okay, here we go.
Mission 1. Death at dusk. Go!
So almost everything is correct. The sun is still off. Let's just see what happens if we blow up a few more things. I'm trying to make sure our positions remain accurate, and it looks like everything is remaining fairly accurate minus the sun and the sun reflection. Everything is basically going right back to where I hope it goes to, so I think that it's working properly here. And now we should see it. We should see some output from this. Okay, so let's go look at the console. See what our output is. I'm expecting to see some show debug messages, but it's almost like that didn't even get called. I don't see anything. So it's almost like our script background is simple didn't get run. All that should have output straight to the compile window, and it did not. The show debug message should have shown up in here, but it didn't. Didn't even show up at all. So there might be a problem with this guy. Object get parent, object get name. So I think what I'm pass in instead is argument 4 instead of the instance. Let's see if this changes it to work properly, and if we get any output to the compile window. So let's hit play. It should recompile here.
Mission 1. Death at dawn.
Okay, so speeding up again, level 2. Everything looks fine right now to me, so everything's behaving the way it should now. I'm okay with where everything's at. Let's blow a couple more things up. And everything snaps right back, which I'm fine with. Snaps back.